Good day, everyone, and welcome to a new series on Judge Lauren Lake TV called Rebirth. This is a series that my dear sister Aaliyah Taylor and I have been talking about for a very long time.
Yes.
We have been discussing in our own lives, in our own friendship and sisterhood, about how important it is to reinvent and rebirth yourself over and over again in your life. There will always be moments in your life where things happen and you have to figure out how to push through.
Yes.
And that's right, literally, just like the birthing process, push through and begin to navigate uncharted waters, right? In many ways, the same way a woman gives birth to a child, you have to give birth over and over again to your life, to your dreams, sometimes to your sense of self. And sometimes to a new circumstance that can serve you better. So we wanted to start this new series called Rebirth because we wanted to take you along on a journey that we've been excited to do together, where we go about various activities, strategies, experiences that help us rebirth ourselves. We are both in, I think, circumstances, myself, dealing with the loss of my brother, my father, and really having to understand that I almost have to rebirth a new version of myself, which is the version of myself that does not have my father, my mother, my brother here as constant support in the physical realm. While I know they're with me in the spiritual realm, it is very much for me like a new world that I'm living in. And so this time, this entire journey we'll be on together will give us the opportunity to get to know ourselves on a new level and push through to the next version of ourselves, right? Which can be new, exciting, but also scary, right?
Definitely.
We talk about this. So look, we letting y'all in on this. All right, y'all got to get ready. And I'm going to be very honest with you. We have like a template of things that we want to do over the course of the next few months. And we would love it if you would journey along with us. Aaliyah, how do you feel like you want to rebirth in your life right now?
It's so many ways because I'm making career transitions. I'm making life transitions, going through a divorce, and just really saying in this season who I am right now today at 42 years old. What do I want my life to look like?
I love that you said that at 42 years old, what do you want your life to look like? And that's one thing we want to talk about. While you are on this earth, in the human experience, there are limitless possibilities for your life, limitless possibilities for you to rebirth a new dream, a new version of yourself, what you want your life to look like. You say you're 42, I'm 55, and I'm still at it. And I can tell you this, I have rebirthed myself many times over the years.
Oh,
I
yes.
have reinvented myself over and over again, whether it was from practicing attorney to designer on TV to television judge to singer, songwriter, producer, it goes on and on. However, what I've come to realize in this new age is that the tactics, the strategy, the things you need to do may change.
Yes.
Right? So that the things you used to do to rebirth and reinvent yourself may not necessarily be the things that are going to work on today.
Yes.
And you have to have the courage to take new steps, bolder steps, steps that maybe you've never thought of or that are scary to you to achieve that new version of yourself.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there have been some bold steps you needed to take that you've been reluctant to take, but you know are necessary?
Oh, absolutely. And it's like when you're on, it's almost like a bird on the ledge. It's like, I have these wings, and your mom, the mom
Kick
pulls it up. But now in this season, I just have to leap. There's nobody back there to give me that push necessarily, but just being bold, brave, and faithful enough in myself and in the universe to say, I'm going to take this jump and it's going to be okay.
It is. Amen. Faithful enough, right?
Yes.
Having the faith.
Yes.
Taking the leap of faith, right? I always say when I'm talking to my Limitless League, I say, listen, while you have stepping, somebody's taking a leap of faith.
Oh,
right?
That's a word.
Okay. And it's true.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes.
You have to learn to take those leaps of faith. And it wouldn't be a leap of faith if you knew how it ended. It wouldn't be a leap of faith if you knew where you're going to land.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take those leaps and we have to begin to, I think, trust ourselves, right? Like you said, having faith, not just in God, the higher power, the universe, but having faith in ourselves.
Yes.
That no matter where I land, if I need to get back up, climb back up and leap again, I will do just that.
Yeah.
Or if I leap and I stumble and I fall, that I've done that before too, and I can get back up again.
We've recovered so many times from so many things.
Yes.
Like, we get up, we dust ourselves off, we do it again.
Yes.
And sometimes, you got to sit and nurse your wounds. But then you get up, you go forward, and you do it again.
We have to.
Yeah.
Because we can't get to the limitless possibilities without the action,
Yes.
right, of doing and being. That's one of the things I've been really meditating on, is that, sometimes intellectually you can have all the answers. You can read all the books, you can read all the blogs, you can listen to all the podcasts, you can do all the things, right? But it lives in here. And while the mind is powerful, faith without what is dead works. And the works require doing that work. And doing the work, I think it requires knowing, understanding, and accepting that you may not get all the results you want, when you want them, how you want them, but you're committing yourself to the work. I think a lot of times, and look, I'm guilty of this too. And while we're in this series, y'all, and we're doing this, we're going to be painfully honest and really be talking to you all. I have been very guilty sometimes in my little control freak life, in my mind, where I will set a goal. I'm a very much a goal-oriented achiever. So I set a goal and then I set about the works that I think are going to achieve that goal, right? And then lo and behold, God, the universe, and everything else then conspired to make something else happen. And I had to come to realize that, oh my goodness, that the works that I was doing, sometimes I have to say to myself, oh my God, this goal that I was working for was my goal and my plan, but maybe God had a different plan and a different goal that landed me somewhere I never expected I would be. And yet that very same work, that very same faith got me there. I just didn't really know where it was intended for me to land. And sometimes you find that lands you in a purpose you never thought. Real story. I always thought I would be a singer. I worked as a professional background singer as well as an attorney for many, many years. I loved my life. I love what I did. I never knew that a showcase that was put on my behalf by a dear friend, a music showcase, would lead me to a television appearance on the Ricky Lake Show. That appearance set course for a 25-year career in television, which I never knew was coming. I never planned this. But I was doing the work. I was showing up. And interestingly enough, a lot of the advice and the things that I say as judge of paternity court and We the People, and even throughout my career as a television expert, are lyrics to songs, right? That I have written as a songwriter, but I use to empower people through my voice, through speaking them from the bench or as an expert on a talk show. And who knew that, right? When I was writing a song I wrote called Nowhere Fast, where I'm talking about somebody's in a hurry going nowhere fast, right? I'm speaking about that now from the bench. So I can say that God is an all-purpose God, right?
Amen to that.
He can make things happen that you don't understand why you are, moving in a certain direction, but he has a plan. Has that happened to you before, Aaliyah, where you felt like maybe you were working to one end, but then something else happened? And even maybe, look, I remember in my television journey, when they first offered me a TV contract, I was still low key like, yeah, I love TV. I'll do TV. This is This is wonderful. I enjoy it, but I'm still like, but my
I'm
real thing, right? But my real thing I'm going to do. And while I love to sing and I love music, I have found incredible love, purpose, joy in what I do that I never planned. Has something happened to you in your life where you felt rebirth, right? But felt the pain of maybe it was not what you planned, but you understood the purpose?
Oh, absolutely. So many times. And I just wanted to say what you mentioned about the song lyrics is such a testament to the power of the written word, the power of what you speak over yourself, because a song, you're singing it over and over and over again. It's like you're putting that out there, and it's like it's working. It's out there in the world working.
I just got to chill because you're right. And I didn't think of it like that. The power of the written word. That's deep. And I wasn't just thinking it. I wasn't even just singing it. I had written it down and composed it as a song. And look, it's limitless, right?
Yeah.
The impact of that phrase. I can't tell you how many people have written into me saying like, oh yeah, when you talked about that being in a hurry going nowhere fast, that's the lyric. You take one step forward and 2 steps back, right? Because that's how I felt sometimes in my life, right? That I'm in a rush. I gotta get there. But then
ain't getting nowhere.
Ain't getting nowhere.
When you have that dream and you're like,
yes. Or keep a real moment when you're exhibiting behaviors, right, that keep you going almost on this treadmill effect. I wrote that song about a young woman who was basically chasing a lot of men and really looking for her worth in relationships and men, and ended up, and which is so crazy and so deep, she ended up getting pregnant. Yes. And how did I know? That was in my early 20s. How did I know that I would spend my life? Oh my God, like the chills I'm getting right now, because as I'm speaking to you, it really is just coming to me that I wrote this. I'm going to write the lyrics out to that whole song one day and really evaluate how I basically wrote down the very same scenario I help people with every day now and had no idea.
And you got into that moment, into that realm where you were telling that girl what she needed to do, what she needed to correct. And then in real life, you were able to have that conversation.
Yes.
And you already had the answers that girl needed.
And
you already had it.
And you're going to freak out that there was a paternity issue in the song. I ain't lying. Yes.
Wow. And then my mind is going so many places, because then too, as you, and make, just in general, when you are writing scenarios and you're mentally in these moments and you're giving advice and looking at lessons from the back, they say hindsight is 20/20.
Yes.
And you're in the present day, in the future, as you're writing, and it's like different scenarios that you wrote, you have already given yourself advice on different situations. You've prepared advice to give to other people, because you sat with a bird's eye view of different scenarios, wrote through the whole thing, found the solution, figured out what it was that the person was doing wrong, that the missteps and where they lead to.
But it's so deep, because you're a writer too, and I know you write a lot. And while you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, isn't it even so powerful, the lack of knowing that's associated with the process of birthing, right? And I'm thinking about this, right? I'm thinking about, and CJ right now is our executive producer, okay? He has set us up, he is filming us, he is doing it all. And I think about birthing him, and I think about, all the time he lived in my womb. He didn't know where he was going. Exactly. He didn't know what world he was coming into. He really, they say that a child chooses their mother and their father, but he doesn't necessarily know who we are in the physical form, what his life experience would be, and yet he pressed on. Now, he was late. He didn't want to come out. That was his problem. He wanted to stay with mama a little bit too long, but finally pressed his way. And I think that is so much about this rebirthing that this series is going to be about, is about sometimes having absolutely no idea what's going on.
And even when you make a choice,
yes,
you don't know all
yes.
of what it entails. There's still mystery and surprise.
Yes.
Like, you know that my brows, for example, the first time I got my brows microbladed, I was
yes.
like, I know the end result. I didn't know about the healing process. And I'm
right.
like, oh my God, what is happening? What in the...
And sometimes you don't know till you get into it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right. Just like birth. You don't
yes.
really know the pain associated with the contractions. People can tell you.
I was just about to say, it's things that people can tell you, but being in the moment and going through experiences,
you have no idea when
right.
those contractions start coming. Everybody can describe them, but when they come, they are yours and yours alone.
Yes.
Just like the birthing process is yours and yours alone. And just like it requires pain, right? Sometimes, look, trying to remain calm, right? In the circumstance of birthing something and breathing and knowing that the way your body and the way your mind and the way you are responding to the pain and the process, it in many ways affects, right? When they talk about the mother don't need to be stressed, it'll stress the baby.
Yes.
This is a real thing that we continue to live out over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we want this series to do, is to be a way for us to identify that for us all to be here on this earth, we have been through a birthing,
yes.
right? But we want you to know that it is possible to go through a rebirthing, right? To rebirth yourself over and over again in what you need to become. In this season of my life, I want to experience less control. That is so hard for me. That is so hard for me. I want to give it over. I want to give it over to God. I want to give it over to the cleaning lady. I want to give it over to the chef. I want to give it over to the driver. I want to give it over.
This is discernment. This is yes,
and
all
listen,
of that.
And while I say that, it may sound so like, oh yes, the truth is, it's hard as hell for me to do it. I was just, I can't tell you how many times CJ has said to me, no, Ma, don't do that. He calls it OD. That's OD. That's what the kids say now. don't do that. No, but I can't, sometimes I just can't stop making things happen. Mm-hmm. But when we think about the birthing process, it is in the relaxing, right? Mm-hmm. It is in the deep breathing and the trusting of the process that the baby is born, that the dream is born for us, and that the renewal is born. So we want to take some deep breaths together, trust the process together, and we're going to be going on a series of journeys and experiences that really help us unearth, and birth this next version of ourselves. I see who she is. Do you see yours?
Oh, absolutely. And I look at her and I speak to her every day. And I love that. And remind her and myself, I'm coming. I'm on my way.
You know what I love that you said too, sis? When you said, when you're writing, you're in the present and the future at the same time. I love that so much. And it brings to mind a funny story because I was in CJ's room the other day. And I looked up on the board and he had the next month up on the board. Now, it's still some more months left here, right? I mean, some more days left in this month. But he up on the next one. And I said, CJ, why you got the month already changed on your calendar? You still got some more days? And he just looked at me. He's like, oh, I'm in the future.
Okay. He ready. And I ain't ready, so you don't have to get ready.
And wait, all I did, I looked, and first I was about, and then I was like, well, I know that's right. And I was like, well, you still got a few more days. Make sure you have your notes of what you had to do. But he looked at me like, no, Ma, I'm in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're about to get to that future. We're about to birth that future. We're about to go through what sometimes will be a painful process. We will have to revisit some things that I think maybe both of us would prefer not to. but I think we also will move into new experiences and new journeys, which allow us to see the hope and possibility, the limitless possibilities that come from rebirthing, right? The new, improved version of yourself through all of the lessons learned, all of the life lessons experienced, all of the loss, right? And even the perceived limitations that we've had to overcome.
Yes.
All right.
So, and you know, as you're making that list, it might be hard. You might be in that point in the canal where you're really struggling. Mm-hmm. Pause and remind yourself that you're still here.
Yes.
That in itself is a receipt. You are still here.
Amen. Amen. That's the receipt. You're still here. And if you're here, limitless possibilities still exist.
Limitless.
Aaliyah, anything else you want to add before we go?
I think we took it there.
We took it there. All right. So listen, y'all, stay with us. You will be hearing back from us soon. We're going to be planning and plotting our process. We hope you take the journey with us. And until we see you again, think about the many times you have rebirthed yourself over the years, and take a moment to write down those times, because sometimes we need proof. Okay, as a lawyer, you know, I'm big on some evidence. Okay, I'm big on bringing the receipts, whether I'm in court or whatever. Bring yourself to a time and a place where you remember that you had to rebirth yourself, you had to reinvent yourself, and write those times down. And that's how you show yourself that it is possible, that you did it before and you are capable of doing it again. You've got one life to live, and this ain't no dress rehearsal.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's time to take center stage in your life and shine. And if you don't know how to do that, we can birth ourselves into that light, right? That we know God called us to live in and to give to the world. All right. Until next time, we'll see you all on the next episode of Rebirth. See y'all soon.